Hi there, Sharon Horne-Ellstrom here. Welcome to Be a Better You Annual Challenge, day 183. This whole month we are focusing on the mental area and aspect of our life, of the 9-part life framework. And that means we're going to talk about a mental or mindset or a thought type topic every day this month. And today's topic is our mental thoughts and beliefs. How do we identify them? I'll share a quick 7-step process, but we'll only do probably the first 5 steps today. And then tomorrow we're going to talk about how these thoughts become beliefs and how some of these beliefs will put a cap on or limit what we will do, what we'll even see. So today, how do we identify? Let's talk about a practical way to identify and highlight and map out our mental thoughts and beliefs. Thoughts are the precursors to beliefs, right? We have literally tens of thousands of thoughts a day. I think there's some statistics that say 80,000. I don't know if that's true or not. I know that our minds are always going, whether we believe they are or not. Even when we're sleeping, our mind just doesn't shut off and do nothing. It's always running the different processes in our body, healing us, and it just keeps going. It's why we dream and things like that. Again, not a mental expert, not a mental health professional, nothing, but based on my own personal experience is what I'll share today and throughout this entire month, right? Because that's all I can do. I could spout off a bunch of statistics and things, but do we really care? No. We want to do and know what works for us and what's important for us. So this is a methodology that you can use to identify your thoughts about thoughts, your thoughts about thinking, your thoughts about intelligence, your thoughts about mindset, your thoughts about positivity or negativity, your thoughts about the world, your thoughts about yourself. There's so many different thoughts that run through our head all the time, and sometimes it feels like simultaneously. I don't know about you, but sometimes it feels like there's a circus going on in my head when it comes to all the thoughts and how I'm jumping around from topic to topic. And I guess mine would be a 3-ring circus. So step 1, we want to pause, take a deep breath. We want to pick an area of mental thoughts and beliefs that we really want to focus on. So for example, maybe we pose the question right now, I'm looking at my thoughts and beliefs about mental health, mental well-being, could be about mindset, could be about thoughts. I'm thinking about my thoughts about thoughts. Oh my God, that's a little too convoluted even for me. But what thoughts about mental health, mental well-being, anything mental or thought or educational or learning or learning new skills related pops up as you go about your day. Something I like to do whenever I'm brainstorming like this or I want to capture a bunch of information quickly is step 2 of the process. I'll do a stream of thought dump where I will sit down, set a timer for 5 minutes, and then everything I can think of about, here we go, everything I can think of about mental health, mental things, crazy things, chaotic things, and again, there's a fine line between our thoughts and our emotions, right? Is it our thoughts that trigger our emotions or our emotions that create our thoughts? I personally think we start feeling a way in our body and that might be in our brain, and then all of a sudden we're thinking a whole lot of thoughts about that way we're feeling. So I think that the feeling comes first and then it's immediately the thought. And sometimes we don't even have the thought. We just have a feeling and we're not even sure why we feel the way we feel, which we'll dive deeply into next month when we go over the emotional area and aspect of that. So today's step 2, just try that. If you're having a hard time, I can easily, as I go about my day, notice what I'm looking for, in this case, mindset, thoughts, and beliefs. And I'll just jot them down. I either have my journal with me or I'll have a little piece of paper and I'll just write them down and then put them in my journal later. But if that doesn't seem to work for you, or if you really want to get a jump start on the day, go ahead and try this stream of consciousness dump. Write down everything you can and then go through it and look for anything that sounds like a mindset, mental health, mental well-being, mental anything, thought or belief. And remember, our beliefs are just thoughts that we think a lot, often, over and over and over again, or a thought that you have or an experience that you have that has strong emotions linked to it, either positive or negative. Now, I have found that in my personal experience, the things I link to negative emotions tend to stick with me longer until I go in and use a process to remove them, than the things I have associated with positive emotions. That's why I practice gratitude every day, because I want to flip that around all the time. We live in a world that inundates us with negative messaging and negative things, trying to trigger our negative emotions, our negative thoughts, and our negative beliefs. I don't know why that is. Probably because it gets our attention more than positive things do. All right, step 3, pull out all the, either highlight or pull out or color all of the thought-related thoughts and belief, mindset, mental thoughts and beliefs. Step 4, tag each belief or each thought with, and I like to go through first and put B by all the beliefs, because that's a thought I want to address pretty quickly, because it's either impacting me positively, so I want to do more of that, or it's limiting my ability to do certain things, impacting me negatively, and I want to deal with that with the rest of the process. But put empowering or limiting by each of the beliefs that you identify in your list from the day. Then pick the big 3. Just pick 3 of them to continue the process of looking at them on, and then ask yourself questions about those 3. Where did I get this? Where did this thought, what thoughts led up to this belief? Where did I get this belief? A lot of times what we find is we're holding on to a belief that isn't even ours. I went through a process with an amazing coach named Janine, and part of her circle last week, I believe it was, and realized that my fear for my grandchildren isn't even mine. It's from my grandmother. And we released that, and I've been a lot better with the granddaughters. Not awesome, but a lot better. So where did it come from? Is it even yours? And if it isn't yours, let it go with love and light, and then move on to something else. If it is yours, well, then we're going to have to address it. Then we ask questions like, well, is this always true? Is this universally true? No matter what, every time, always, is this belief true for me? You know, am I scared of snakes even? And that doesn't have anything to, well, I guess it is mental, right? Am I afraid of snakes? Kinda, but not really anymore. But I was afraid of snakes. I just hated snakes, and I kind of freak out whenever I saw them on my walks at the park, etc. Is it universally true? No, because I see snakes at the zoo or snakes in other places, and it doesn't bother me at all. But I didn't like it when I was out in nature by myself, and I would run into snakes. But it was usually a message that something nefarious was going on around me, and I needed to be more aware. What evidence do I have that contradicts that this belief is or is universally true? And we always have a whole lot of it if we ask the question. And then what new belief would serve me better? We're going to do this tomorrow. We're going to look at limiting beliefs more deeply. And I'm going to share a process for eliminating them, because I think it's so important. You can score and track on a scale of 1 to 10 how strongly you feel about a belief. And I like to do this actually before I do the removal part. And then I install a replacement. Once I've questioned it and really kind of dug into the belief, I go ahead and install replacement. So what are we doing today? We are going to go about our day and pay attention to the thoughts and beliefs that pop up as we go about our day about our thinking, our level of intelligence, anything mental related or thought related or conscious or subconscious, or all the different topics we're going to talk about, identity, ego. All of those are thoughts. We create everything in our mind with thoughts, and that includes our entire life. So if you need any help with this, please ask. I don't find these brain dumps very challenging or hard to do, but some people do. It depends, I guess, how self-aware you are. How easily do you catch yourself saying something and you're like, well, I don't really believe that. Why'd I even say that? And that's something to explore, because somewhere deep down there's a little program running that says, when this happens, say this. When this happens, do this. And again, some of those are really empowering for us. Some of them are very limiting for us. And we want to identify and deal with the differences in different ways. When I find an empowering belief and thought, I just double down on it and keep doing more and more of it, thinking it more often. I add it to my affirmations, etc., because it's moving me in the direction I want to go faster in all the areas of my life. That's one thing about thinking and mental and this area of our life. It so permeates everything else in our life. It's sometimes challenging to separate it out. It doesn't have to be 100% separated. It just has to be enough so we can have some awareness and find our own patterns of behavior, our own patterns of thought, and see if they're leading us in the direction that we want to go. All right, that's it. Have an awesome day. If I can help you anyway, ask. Otherwise, I'll be with you tomorrow.